Hey everyone, Mark Hespin here from On the Mark on Newstalk 1070 KHMO. It's time. The week 2 is officially behind us in the NFL with those 2 Monday night games. And so let's release my official power rankings for this week. First power rankings of the season. Didn't want to do it after week 1. Now we have 2 games on our belt. I feel comfortable making a power rankings. So I'll give you that. And also talk about the Chicago Bears, the State of the Union, where they're at right now. So let's jump into it. We'll start with the power rankings. I have at number 10 this week, the Washington Commanders. They have shocked me. You know, if you listened to my preview before the season, I thought Washington, the best course of action for them would just kind of clean house, restart the franchise, new ownership. And they've done the opposite of that. Eric Bieniemy has lit a fire under this offense, playing really solid football. Sam Howell, he's, controlling the football. He's got to stop spin moving so much. I know it's a bad Cardinals defense they beat. I know it's a bad Denver Broncos defense they beat. But they went on the road in Denver and really controlled that game despite what the box score said at the end. So I'm going to give a little love to the Commanders at number 10. I have the Detroit Lions at number 9. Really tough loss at home against Seattle when they had control of that game at certain points. Dan Campbell, if you're going to be aggressive, stay aggressive. I love going for it on 4th down. Just keep going for it on 4th down. Detroit should be higher in this rankings. They should be 2-0, but they lose at home. The defense can't stop a nosebleed right now, even though I like the improved defensive line. I have the Lions at number 9. This might be a shocker. I have the Dallas Cowboys at number 8. I'm not sold on the Dallas Cowboys yet. Dak Prescott hasn't done anything yet this season. And there will be a point in time where they need to rely on Dak. And at that point in time is when I'll be interested to see what the Cowboys are actually like. Their defense may right now be the best unit in all of football. It's playing phenomenally. It's really well coached. But they are a tweak or an injury away on the back end of the secondary. They don't have a ton of depth. Micah Parsons, can he keep up this pace the whole year? They beat up on a ridiculously bad Jets offense with Zach Wilson last week. And then a really, really stunning blowout of a bad Giants team in week 1. So, Dallas, the ton of talent, but I just haven't seen enough yet to say, you know what, I feel comfortable putting Dallas as a top 5, top 3 team in the NFL right now. They may get that way. They're going to slowly work up. I'd rather be cautious with Dallas than jump on the bandwagon. At number 7, I have Jacksonville. Listen, they were out of sync and out of sorts against the Chiefs at home, and that is a game that could really come back to haunt them in Week 17 or early in the playoffs when they realize, dang it, we got to go to Arrowhead now for the AFC Championship game instead of hosting it in Jacksonville. But this is a team that I still really love what I saw from Week 1, and I think that defensively, they can play football. They have guys who can get after it. You saw what they did to Patrick Mahomes in that offense. They held him to 17 points. Offense will figure it out. They'll get there. I'm not panicking on Jacksonville yet. I think this Jaguars team can be really special this year. Baltimore at number 6. Listen, the injuries are concerning because they are just an infirmary, it seems like, every year in Baltimore. But if any team knows how to play with injuries, it's Baltimore because they're injured every single year. And so far, Lamar Jackson has really impressed me. He's come out. He's still just so freakishly athletic. It feels like he was using that more in week 2. And Baltimore seems to be all in. They seem to be clicking with the wide receiver core. Flowers, OBJ, and Mark Andrews back last week looked really, really good for that passing offense for Baltimore. They'll figure it out defensively. They're not a upper echelon elite defense, but Harbaugh and that staff, one of the most well-coached teams in all football. 2-0 start for the Ravens. I have it number 6. At number 5, the Buffalo Bills. It may be high for people, but Josh Allen is completing football right now. He had an electric game, too, a huge bounce-back game for them against a bad Raiders team in Buffalo. I'm cautious with this Bills team, but I'm not going to throw everything out the window just because of that stinker on Monday night. It was a weird game, emotional game. When Aaron Rodgers went down, it seemed like the whole game just got loose and got out of hand and got out of whack. Josh Allen, he bounced back in a huge way. Joe Burrow didn't bounce back. Deshaun Watson's looked bad so far this year. Josh Allen had a stinker and came back and put on a magnificent performance at home in week 2. I like the Bills' defense. They're showing their teeth. And this Bills passing attack, if Josh Allen could play a lot like week 2, they may be one of the best team in football when it's all said and done. 49ers at number 4, maybe a little low for some people. Again, I'm still not 100% bought into Brock Purdy yet. I'm going to pause, pump the brakes. I thought that He missed some big throws and some big moments, and I love the roster. Well-coached football team, incredible defense. They will punch you in the mouth. Not 100% sold on Brock Purdy yet to have them any higher than 4. Miami Dolphins at number 3. Miami is a step ahead of the 49ers because these teams are very similar. But right now, offensively, the Miami Dolphins are elite. Defensively, the Niners have the Dolphins a little bit, but I love Vic Fangio and the scheme of the Dolphins. And I trust Tua right now more than I trust Brock Purdy. So I'm going to put the Dolphins just ahead of the Niners. These are great teams. This could be a Super Bowl matchup. Absolutely, early in the season. You got to love what these two teams have done. Chiefs at number 2. I know that seems like, Mark, what they lost week 1. They didn't look great week 2. Patrick Mahomes just got a deal. I think you're seeing a motivated Patrick Mahomes. That wide receiver core looked improved in week 2. Patrick will figure it out. They went on the road to Jacksonville against a very good Jaguars team and stole a victory there after outplaying the Lions, but just not having enough of their playmakers ready to go. This team should be 2-0. They have Travis Kelce back. He looked healthy. He looked good. Jones is back. He looked healthy. He looked good. Patrick Mahomes got a contract. Don't panic about the Chiefs. Still one of the top 2 teams in football. Number 1, 2-0, defending NFC champions, the Philadelphia Eagles. I know some people might say, Mark, they've had a little bit of a shaky start, but I loved what I saw Thursday night at home against the Vikings. They have an identity, running the football. That is what the Eagles should do. Lean on that offensive line. Lean on that elite defensive front. They did that in week 2 in a really impressive win against the Vikings with a very desperate and talented Vikings offense. They held on for the victory, and they ran the ball down their throats. I love Philly right now. I think Philly is the number 1 team in the NFL. That's my power rankings. I'll give with the Eagles at number 1. As for the Chicago Bears, second part of this short video here, my State of the Union address for the Chicago Bears is simply this. If you take away Justin Fields' 13 carries for 62 yards on the season so far, this Chicago Bears team has run 32 times for 127 yards. I mean, they have no offensive identity. What we love so much about the Chicago Bears after they came out after the short bye week and then they exploded offensively on Monday Night Football against the Patriots was they said, screw it. We are going to have an identity, and the identity is going to be running the football, building off of this kind of power run game, I formation, under center, get our quarterback moving, half of the field. We've seen none of that so far to start the season. The start of the season has looked like Luke Getsy started the season last year, and it's just a bad offensive game plan. Yes, Justin Fields has to play better, but we've seen Justin Fields play really good football when they actually give him an offense that uses his strengths. I don't understand why they're not lining up under center more, why they're not lining up with heavy sets at some point in time, running the football. Where's Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson? I mean, Herbert's only averaging 3.9 yards a carry, 16 carries, 62 yards. You let David Montgomery go. Roschon Johnson had some pop in game 2. But this team needs to run the football. They need their identity back. They need to control the clock, and they need to take some pressure off this defense that is terrible right now. My main takeaway of the Chicago Bears right now is I don't have faith in Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy and this coaching staff, the Chicago Bears. I like Ryan Poles. I think Ryan Poles is the GM for the Chicago Bears right now. If you remember, a year and a half ago when they were putting this staff together, they had a new GM, new coach. They hired Bill Polian basically to hire the coach. Poles was hired, and a week later he hired Eberflus. Eberflus was already getting interviewed and was a favorite for that job before they hired Ryan Poles. I can make the case if I'm Ryan Poles, this isn't my guy, and it's not my quarterback, but who do you trust more right now, Justin Fields or Matt Eberflus? He's the defensive head coach. They spent a ton of money on defense. They improved that defense with positions, with Edwards, Yannick Ngakoue, drafting defense as well along the front, and they haven't produced. They're not getting enough pressure. They're giving up chunk yards on third down. They can't stop a nosebleed. They can't get after Baker Mayfield. They made him look like Patrick Mahomes last week. Justin Fields can play football in this league at a high level and produce when you have an offense that allows him to do that. When you just stick him in the shotgun with a back to his right or to his left and an empty or a bunch of empty sets, he's not the guy because you're asking him to process way too much at this stage of his development in his career. I lean towards supporting Justin Fields, and I'm leaning less and less towards supporting this coaching staff. Luke Getsy, go back and dig up that game plan and those plays when you went on Monday Night Football and absolutely embarrassed the New England Patriots. That's what you need to do. Get that back into the game plan. With adding DJ Moore, then that's a Bears team that can win some games. That's a potent offensive game plan. They need to get Nate Davis and Tevin Jenkins back as well in the interior of the offensive line before I judge any too more harshly on the offensive line and the offensive unit. Final thoughts on the Bears. They're probably going to lose to the Chiefs this week. Starting the season 0-3. There are some really winnable games in the weeks after the Chiefs game. Really winnable games. And what the Chicago Bears need to do is they need to show enough fight and enough offensive identity, run the football, control the clock, try to put your young quarterback into really winnable situations with his weapons. And if they can do that, they can build some momentum, even a loss to the Chiefs, to where maybe this season can be turned around. No one's running away with it in the NFC North. The Bears still have life, but they've got to fix this offensive game plan. And Justin has to play better. But I put more of the blame on the coaching staff, the decisions, than I do the quarterback. I believe in Ryan Poles. I still believe in Justin Fields. I'm losing a ton of faith in Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus. Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. The Bears, there's still tiny bit of room to have some faith. But they got to show some real life against the Chiefs this weekend. Tune in to On the Mark, News Talk 1070 KHMO on the KHMO app. Every Saturday morning at 9:05 sharp. Follow On the Mark KHMO on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark Hespin.